Hello, and welcome to the English with Colin Podcast, a podcast for English language learners. My name's Colin, I'm an English teacher in Tokyo, and if you're looking to improve your English skills and gain more confidence in your ability to communicate in English, you've come to the right place. In these episodes, I'll provide you with short conversations in English that cover a range of topics, from everyday situations to more specialised subjects. These conversations are designed to help you practice your listening skills and pick up new vocabulary and grammar along the way. Regular listening practice is key to improving your English, and I hope this podcast will become a valuable resource for you on your language learning journey. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. And remember, the more you listen, the more you'll learn. This is episode 10, and in this episode, we're talking about the cherry blossom. Hey, Sue.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Very good. How are you?
I'm very well. Today we're going to talk about cherry blossom. Why are we talking about cherry blossom?
Because it's such an important part of the year, isn't it?
Specifically in Japan?
Yes.
Yes. So it comes around the cherry blossom. Well, it depends on which part of Japan you're in.
Yes.
We were in Okinawa in the early spring, and the cherry blossoms had already passed.
Yes, we missed those.
You talk about it kind of passing. It's a strange way to describe it, but the warm weather starts in the south and kind of works its way north. So the southern parts of Japan get the cherry blossom earlier than the northern parts of Japan.
Yes, and it only lasts for about 2 weeks.
Yes, once the trees start to blossom, it's about 2 weeks.
And that's what makes them special, because it's such a short period of time. It's so intense for a short period of time that you have to go out and you have to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I think in the north of Japan, it hasn't finished, or it hasn't even started yet. I think in the north, if you go up to Akita or Aomori or those kind of northern prefectures of Honshu, it's around Golden Week. We can talk about what Golden Week is maybe in another podcast, but there's a real difference across the country in terms of timing.
What's nice here in Tokyo with the timing of the cherry blossoms is that it's around April, and this is when everyone starts work, especially new jobs. Schools start, universities start. So it's a lovely time to start something.
Yeah, you see lots of pictures of sort of entrance ceremonies. Like being a teacher, you know, the entrance ceremony is always associated with cherry blossom.
But also graduations, right?
I would say more to do with entrance.
Because I remember my graduation.
Right.
There were some cherry blossoms.
Maybe. I mean, that's another thing, that you do have different species, is that the right way to describe it? Different varieties of cherry blossom that bloom a little bit earlier.
That's true.
And then you've got the sort of standard one, the most common one. But I would say it's probably more like early April. And it's around early April as you get the entrance ceremonies.
What I really love about the early ones, and we've seen these ones in what's the park?
Ueno?
In Shibuya. Yoyogi.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
They have these very early ones, and it's like 2 or 3. It's not many,
right?
But they blossom amazing, and then you get what I love is the little birds that are green.
Right.
With the little eyes that are white around them.
They've got a white ring around their eyes.
And they're called Mejiro.
And
there's so many of them, and they're just going back and forward, just kind of getting food from these trees.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
They're incredible birds, these little Medjiro. They're so acrobatic. They'll be hanging upside down, feeding.
Yes.
They're really quite incredible to... But yeah, the couple of... I know exactly which trees you're talking about in Yoyogi. They bloom so spectacularly and early. So it's really, for a lot of people, it's the first cherry trees that they will see of the season. And yeah, we went there many years ago, and it must have been like a Tuesday or something. We had a day off, and we went to the park. It was a beautiful day, and there was almost nobody there. I think we went by this year on a Saturday, and it was packed.
Yes.
So many people trying to get pictures.
Yes. Well, it was incredible. No one wanted to miss that.
Yeah. So the cherry blossom, it's been a thing in Japan for a long time, like hundreds and hundreds of years. It's been a sort of symbol of Japan.
It's something that you see everyone doing. Older people, younger people, young families, kids. This is for everyone.
Yeah. It's ingrained. It's really part of the culture. It's part of the year. That was one of the really difficult things, I think, for people during COVID, was people weren't able to go out and fully enjoy that period of the year.
Yeah.
And it's such an important part of the year for people, that the fact that they couldn't go out to the park and sit down and have a picnic and a couple of beers, maybe some nihonshu.
Such a good time to relax, to be outside.
Yeah.
To enjoy nature.
And if you think about how many companies, I mean, I've been with companies that have had their first kind of get together, meet other colleagues, would be some sort of cherry blossom party, or hanami, as they call it. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It really, where I used to live, in Niigata, there was a park that had over 3,000 cherry trees, and when they blossomed, it was just spectacular. Imagine a park, basically every tree in that park was a cherry tree. And they had a beautiful castle, Takada Castle. So yeah, many happy memories. And it's also the time of year when Japanese people can let loose a little bit, let their hair down.
Yes. I think that's kind of also a sense that you get. Everyone is relaxed, everyone's happy, everyone is enjoying. There's no worries. You can see it in their faces. They're just enjoying the moment. And I think that's why it's also so important. Yeah.
And the other thing is, it's really a signal of spring. Like it's sort of the transition between the long winter, and it's the first real sign of like the good weather is coming.
Yes, and after the cherry blossoms, or during that time, there's all sorts of flowers that are also coming out.
Yeah.
Other trees, and it just, everything changes. The whole city changes. It's quite amazing to see.
Yeah, I mean, we're in Tokyo, and just now the cherry blossom's just finishing. This is probably your last chance to see any cherry blossom, but you're already starting to see the azalea.
Yes.
Are coming into bloom, and there's a lot of azalea throughout Tokyo. Even just where we live, around the building, there's many azalea bushes. It's a real feature of the city. If you go to Bunkyo in Tokyo, basically for this couple of weeks, where I used to work, one of the areas I used to work in, there's lots and lots of azalea around there. So yeah, it's a big change. It's a big change. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the English with Colin podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening to the conversation and found it helpful in your language learning journey. Remember, the key to mastering a language is regular practice. So make sure you listen to our podcast regularly and keep honing your listening skills. We appreciate your support and feedback, so if you have any comments, questions or suggestions for future topics, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. You can find our contact information in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to joining you again next time for another conversation in English. Until then, keep practicing and take care.